Hey everybody, welcome back to Ty's Tanks. New episode for you guys. We're gonna be doing a water change. I don't know if we're gonna do like 25 or 50% water change, but I'm gonna show you how we do it. I'm gonna show you about how we go about like cleaning all the substrate and just regular routine maintenance that you guys are gonna want to do around like every week and a half, 2 weeks, stuff like that. So I'm gonna go step by step and show you guys how we do it. So first things first, we use what is called a python, which actually goes directly to your sink, and it connects to your sink using this valve here. So we'll go ahead and take you over to the kitchen and we'll show you how to install this first. So here we go. Here's the device that goes onto your sink. This down position is when it's draining, and when you push up and turn to the right, it locks it up, and that's how you start filling your tank again. So, but we want it on drain, obviously. You want to come over to your sink and you want to see what type of application you got on here. Ours is one of those screwy ones. You have different types of sinks, and this screws onto different different spigots that you have. With ours, I like to get this brass one on first, this brass piece. This washer has to come out for mine to fit. I think this brass piece just protects these threads. So if you have one that you can thread in on the outside of this, that washer just keeps the everything good to go. But this one goes on the inside of it. So you just screw it on there like that. And then you take this device and you screw it on there like that. You don't want to go, you want to make sure it's snug, you want to make sure it's tight, but you don't want to go crazy because you don't want to like damage this. It's literally just plastic. So that's pretty tight, a little bit more tight than I think. So then I always come out here. It's in the drain position. That's full blast cold water. That's what it's gonna look like. That's what it's supposed to look like. So we'll head back over to the tank and we'll grab the tube, and then we'll meet you guys back here in a second. All right, so we got the tube and we're about to get this set up. So once I get this untangled mess situated with, this is pretty much how it's gonna come together like this piece and the tube. So you want to take this end, and I always thread this on separately. It's just easier to get everything on, so the tube is gonna like spin on you, but you want to just make this nice and snug, and then you just want to take that little kink out of it. And all we're gonna do now is walk this out over to the fish tank. You can get these in various sizes. I think they have a 10, but I know they have a 25, 50 foot, 100 foot. But these are the best way to water change your tank. So now we're over at the tank. We're gonna pop both lids. And before we get this started, a really important thing that you want to make sure you do is turn everything off. You're going to want your filter off, your heater off. I turn everything off, so the lights are going to be off as well. So if your water gets too low and your heater's still on, it can actually electrocute your fish. So you want to make sure everything's off. All right, so we'll get you back when we're ready for that. All right, guys, so I went ahead and I unplugged everything, the bubbler, the heater, the filter, the UV sterilizer, everything is off other than the light. So now we can get started. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head over to the sink, and I always want to, before I go to the sink, I wanna show you guys, this is the closed position on the python. That's the open position. This is closed. I always start with closed. So you throw the closed position on the python. I'm gonna walk over to the sink and I'm gonna put on cold water full blast. So I'll be right back. Okay, so now it's on full blast of the cold water. Now, as soon as I open this valve, as long as this tube's in the water, it's gonna start taking water up and over to the sink. So here we go. You'll see it. I'm gonna keep the tube in like this, just so you can see the water actually climbing the tube. Here it goes. I open the valve. You can see the water climbing the tube, and there it goes. all the way through. And you might actually hear the sink actually get louder once the water gets to that valve. It's gonna start draining like crazy. All right, so now we're gonna turn this into a time lapse. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna vacuum the bottom, get all the poop up, get all the nasty stuff up, clean up the substrate, and you guys will watch it from there. So here we go. So if you have this type of lid, I'm going to show you guys how you actually transfer over to the other side of the tank while keeping your suction going, because you actually lose the suction, and you know, as the transfer and it goes into the air, you'll lose it. So what I do is I just go ahead and I put the valve in the closed position, and then I put this upside down, put it back in upside down again, and then turn the valve back on, and it's like nothing ever happened. So then you can switch over to the other side of the tank, and you can see you can continue to suck. Another important detail is you definitely don't want any of the substrate to start riding up your tube. So as soon as you start seeing the substrate climbing, you want to pull the tube up, 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 up. The substrate's heavy, so the substrate's going to fall, and all the poop is what's going to be collecting and continuing to flow through the tube. So that's another important tip, and we'll get back to it. At this point, we have the substrate pretty much vacuumed out the way we like, and it seems pretty clean. So right now, we're just really going to set this thing up, and we're going to let it continue drain, probably a little bit more. Like we said, we were probably going to go like 50%, so we're going to let this drain a little bit more. I like to just set it up to where I can hook it around the top of my tank, and it can just sit like that. So we're just going to let this drain a little bit more, and I'll bring you guys back and I'll show you how to actually fill your tank, add the chemicals for the water change to knock out that tap water, and we'll bring you back when we get to there. All right, so we're a little bit more than 50% water change here, so now I'm going to show you guys how to go back and fill it up. So I just finished draining all the water out of the tube just by lifting this up and then closing the valve once it gets all the way out past the valve. So now we're going to come back and I'm going to show you guys how to set this up. So you want to make sure that the valve is closed, and this is an important step in this process, is you're going to want to come here and you're going to set this to as close as you can, touching wise, to like the temperature of your tank. So I just do like, you know, a little bit warm, not super crazy, just a little bit comfortable to about where the tank was. And once you get that set, which this is getting pretty close, so this part of the process you're going to want to move a little bit quickly. So it'll help if you have somebody to help you out, or if you're like me, where I'm only 15 feet away, it's going to be an easy process for me. But if you're further away, you know, 50 feet, 100 feet like that, you're definitely going to want to make sure you have somebody to help you out. Just because as soon as you close this valve, the pressure is going to be pushing all the way to where that tube's at, where the valve's at, and you're going to want to open that up nice and slow because it's going to start shooting water out. So this is getting pretty close to set to where I like it. All right, so what you're gonna wanna do is this bottom piece, you're gonna push up and turn to the right, and that's gonna start pushing water actually through the tube. So you come in, push up, turn to the right, lock it in, water's flowing through. And you can see the water's climbing, water's climbing, water's climbing. So once, you're okay right now, but once it gets to this point is when you're gonna wanna start opening your tube. So now it's gonna actually shoot, so you're gonna wanna open your tube slow. So just keep pressing that valve, but just push it slowly because it's gonna shoot out quickly. If you go too fast, it's gonna fly like crazy. And then once you get the valve all the way open, it's gonna be a nice process, just like that. So at this point, you can walk away and you can sit back and relax and watch your tank start to fill. It's gonna start filling your tank. Once it gets a little bit more, I'm gonna start adding the chemicals in there. And so as the water's getting pushed around and flowed around, the chemicals will also get spread out as well. So I'll bring you guys back as soon as we start putting the chemicals in the tank. Okay, at this point, the water is obviously filling up in the tank. This is when I start to add in a little bit of chemicals. I don't add much, and I typically even add less than it actually tells you. So this is a prime concentrated conditioner. It removes the chlorine, chloramine, detoxifies ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate. It says 1 capful for each 50 gallons of new water. So this is a 75-gallon tank. We drained about 50% of it, so I'm probably only gonna put in like a quarter of a capful. That's it. So this stuff does smell like sulfur. It's not a big deal. It's what it smells like. It's all good. And I'm also gonna add in, before I go to do it, AquaSafe Plus advanced formula for clearer water, and enhances the protective slime coat for your fish. So it does tend to like just cloud the tank a little bit, but I'm telling you, in a couple hours, this thing will be crystal clear. And this is the way we've been doing it, and it's been successful, and all of our fish have been healthy. But right here, I'm gonna add like just a quarter of the capful. I'm gonna dump it right where the water's getting pushed around. That's good. Then I take this, shake it a little bit. That stuff don't need to shake. This stuff, you shake this around a little bit as it sits. Same deal. I'm just gonna do like a little bit of a quarter capful here. And in the tank. Typically I'll just rinse the cap off a little bit, but that's it. So now the chemicals are added. We're gonna continue filling the water up. And once we get to a certain point, I'm gonna bring you guys back again, and I'll show you guys how to start turning everything on, when to turn things on, and then also how to turn off this hose so you complete your water change. Just wanted to bring you guys back really quick and show you guys what I'm really waiting for. If you look at the filter, you'll see minimum water level right there. And if you look at the fluval heater, there's like little squigglies underneath the F. That's the minimum water level that you're gonna want to turn that thing on. And same with the UV sterilizer. I usually go up to, sorry about the light. I usually go up to where that little nozzle is there at the top, and that's when I turn it on. So I'll turn the filter on, get that starting to go. I'll get the UV sterilizer running, and I'll get the heater running as well. You can really turn the bubbler on whenever. At this point, you're good to go. But as you can see, the chemical makes it just a tiny bit cloudy, but that's just it settling in. And I'm telling you, in like an hour or two, this thing will be absolutely crystal clear. We're still throwing in some more water, but it's looking great so far. I'll bring you guys back in a minute. All right, so in this position, the water's almost up to the top. So right here is typically when I start plugging things in. So we're gonna plug in the UV sterilizer, the filter, the heater, and the bubbler. We're gonna get everything back up and running. The reason why I do the filter a little bit early before I finish filling the tank is once the filter starts sucking water in, this water level is actually gonna drop a little bit for the intake of the water into the filter. So I just wanna make that difference up with the water still. So here we go. I'm gonna start plugging things in. You guys just take a look at the tank. You'll see the bubblers start going. You'll see everything go. All right, so everything's back up and running. Bubblers going on. The filter turned on, the UV sterilizer's on, heater's on, everything's up and running, everything looks good. In one of my next videos, I'm actually going to go ahead and review this UV sterilizer, and I'm going to give my honest review about it. I'm going to give my honest review also about the Fluval heater and the way they've been working for me. But now we're just going to wait for the final hoorah. I'm going to show you guys how to properly turn off this system to drain it and be done, and you'll be finished up your water change. All right, so the water's pretty much almost to the top, so I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close this valve, and then I'm going to head over and we're going to take it over to the sink and we're going to open that valve up so it starts draining again. So here we go, I'm closing the valve, making a run for it. Again, this is why you would like to have another person. And there you go, it's going to start draining everything that is at the valve. And you come back to here, open up the valve, and just let the water go. So up, we're draining. And I just like to follow out the tube, just like this. And you can actually watch the water leaving the tube here. You can see it at the bottom. If you just leave it, it's just gonna settle. So you just wanna keep lifting it and curling up as you go. And you get to, eventually you get to the end, and all the water's out of your tank, or out of your tube. Now you can go ahead and shut it off. And that's how you complete a water change. So I'll take you guys back over to the tank. Like I said, adding the chemical in, it just adds a little bit of a cloud to it just to get the chemical settled. But in about an hour or two, we'll bring it back to the video and you'll see how absolutely crystal clear this is. This is the way we've been doing water changes since we've had the tank, and it's been nothing but successful every single time. So we'll bring you guys back in a little bit once all this settles in and clears up, and I'll show you guys the results. And here we go. This is the very next day. Thought I'd give it a little bit more time. So this is the type of result you'll have after pretty much an overnight as the chemicals sit. Tank looks great, super clear. Like I was telling you guys, this is how it comes out every single time. All the fish are doing good. Again, we think this guy over here is holding. It seems like it at least possibly have some eggs in there. But overall, the tank came out great. Fish are loving it. Fish are definitely getting big from this video over to the first one we ever posted. Sorry, my daughter's freaking out over there. But yeah, this is the end result after the 50% water change. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you guys can get notified when I post another video. And YouTube, thank you for watching.